the way of the Tai Chi Fist and palm and elbow and other weapons. Tai Chi Fist is a natural way of using the fist for punching. Unlike other martial arts, where it's a very clenched, tense sort of a fist, what Tai Chi does to protect the bones is to hold the fist in a certain way as to align all of the bones perfectly, so that the force that you're exerting upon your fist will then be dissipated throughout the whole arm and not just on a few knuckles, as in some of the hard styles. There's only very few times when we actually use these two knuckles. For the most part, we'll be using these three knuckles. These three knuckles are actually more powerful and safer using those than it is using these two knuckles, because it's like the fellow lying on a bed of nails. That's relatively easy to do, but you ask him to lie on one nail and the nail will go straight through him, of course. The same here. We've got the pressure is dissipated over the last three knuckles, but you've got to know exactly how to punch, and that has to then become to a subconscious level, so you're not going to damage your hand, of course, if you just hit, for instance, this little knuckle here and miss, you'll damage it, of course. By the same token, if you hit any one knuckle by itself, you're going to do some damage. This one's pretty big, but you hit it by itself and you'll still damage it, hitting the harder objects on a person. I don't advocate striking objects or breaking bricks or anything. Bricks don't fight back, neither does wood. So we practice punching on a punching and a hard punching bit, of course, in order to get a more realistic effect without actually punching people. You can get those dummies nowadays, which are fairly good. I rather like them, that you can actually pummel away on and get a much more realistic effect. However, getting back to the Tai Chi Fist, the Tai Chi Fist aligns the whole body. In fact, when you hold the Tai Chi Fist in this way, it is said, this is the Tai Chi Fist, it is said that we have yin and yang in the palm. In other words, what happens here is you close your fist lightly, and then this doesn't tuck inside, of course, you'll break your thumb, but it's just on top here like this. Now you'll notice that this is going white here, that's fairly well tucked in there. The rest of the fingers are loose, meaning we bring yin and yang into the palm. And that has to happen at the very instant when you strike the object. It takes a bit of training, of course, to get this happening rather than just clenching your fist and doing this. However, once you get the hang of having yin and yang coming into your palm, it will literally amaze you at how much power you can get over very short distances. And this is where a lot of people get into trouble. They pull their fist right back here and try to punch someone. That's like saying, I'm going to punch you, get ready. That's where you want to punch someone, from there. Their face is there. That's where you want to punch them with great power. Bah! And you'll find that what happens is, bah! See, there's the fist straight away. I don't know, you probably didn't hear it because I'm wearing this microphone, but when you make the punch, you can actually hear the sound of one hand clapping. You can hear the fist. I'll just try and do it without making the sound. Very difficult, because the sound is, by the way, is a part of your whole fist and your whole attacking ability. But I'll try and do it. I'll just be very quiet for a minute and then do it. Did you hear that, Erle? No? Not really. I'll do it again. No, maybe not. Yeah, I heard it that time. All right. So you've got to get a sound. That's the first area that we get into. If you can't get a sound with your hand, because that means you haven't got a loose hand. I'll do it closer to the mic. See, that's the sort of sound of the hand closing, because it starts open. It doesn't start closed and you just hit out. That's just a totally stiff arm. No yin and yang whatsoever in it. No wave of energy coming out. Nothing. It's totally loose, relaxed, and all of a sudden, bah, it closes upon impact, and then it's gone again, ready for the next defensive motion. So you're continually changing from yin to yang all the time. I'll just get Ben in. We're moving to the UK very soon, so we've packed all of our punching mitts and everything away, so we're using a drum, one of Eli's drum seats here as a punching mitt. That's all we could find. Now, for instance, you're punching an object like this and you do this, what's going to make contact first? See that? No matter how tightly you close your hand, you've got to bend your wrist down in order for these knuckles here, well, they don't even make contact because that knuckle makes contact first. In order for these two knuckles to make contact, you've got to turn your, look at the position the wrist is in. Very dangerous. That's going to damage your wrist, you see. Doing some sort of, then you'll damage these knuckles, the tips of these knuckles. It's okay if you're punching through here and you get him on the chin, but who wants to punch someone on the chin all the time? You've got to punch other objects. So what, just hold it up a little bit higher, Benny, because the rule is up high, that's the way the fist should make contact, either like this, vertically, or turned over like that, and punching in this way. Now you'll notice that the fist is open, and when it comes through to make contact, that's when it closes. Now when the fist closes, see the angle of the wrist? This happens, bah, in an instant, as you saw, but you see the angle of the wrist as it's coming through. It'll come through like that. And now it's going to make as it makes contact, it begins to close. And when it closes, just the simple closing of the fist will force the fist to come up, thus, don't know if you can see that there, those three knuckles are perfectly in a line and they're all making contact at precisely the same time. Because it's come in like this and it's flicked up. What the effect this has on the human body, especially if you're struck somewhere around here, the mind point, or on the chin, or on the other side, in stomach 5 point, is to send a shock wave up into the brain, damages the brain, or the person just goes in a knockout straight away. This point here, stomach 5, will work as a knockout anyway. That's quite a common knockout point. And this point here, the mind point, which is an extra point on no particular acupuncture meridian, when struck back in that way, will cause a knockout anyway. However, you use the correct Tai Chi Fist and you have to use hardly any power to get these knockouts from happening. So you'll notice how when it makes contact, it's pointing up. This is a very basic punch for starters, very basic. And when you put your thumb in like that tightly, everything here, now you'll notice the angle of the arm is exactly as it should be. If you saw a skeleton of this, you would see that all the bones are perfectly in line, and at a physics level, you're going to do the least amount of damage because the whole power is dissipated along the whole arm and through your whole body, rather than just going into your wrist and then damaging your wrist, for instance. So we're going to do just a straight punch like that to start with. This is not the real Tai Chi snap punch, but this is just the way we start. Short distance away, you can either have your left foot or your right foot forward. That's a natural stance. That's an unnatural stance or reverse stance. See how it's even now, just with very light touch, because the body is doing the punch and not just the fist. See, I'm not going like this. That, even if it's done fast, is a push. If I can do that as powerfully as I want, because I've no yin and yang in the hand, you see. But use the body. This is sort of getting into Fa Jing as well, which I won't go into just yet. That's another complete story. It will require its own lesson. But using Fa Jing, when you do this, you can punch from a fairly short distance away, and bah! That was just from that distance, you see. And you notice I didn't do anything. It was I just went pa and released, and there was great power coming out of it, because at the end, see that? It flicks up at the end, sending a shock wave upwards. And you'll notice what the hand is loose. I'll just try and hold my hand closed after I've done the punch this time. See, that's how the fist should be upon impact. But then, of course, after you've done the punch, bah! See how the fist is now? No fist. Ready for, ready for counter-attacks, etc. Finger jabs, elbows, whatever. So that's the very first thing we learn. Learn to kick it up. Now get yourself a softer object. Don't go starting to punch bits of wood or bricks, because you're going to damage your hands to start with. And what you do is you start on a softer object and build your way up to, for instance, a hard makiwara on the wall or something. And what will happen is you'll find that through here will start to build up. These spaces through here will start to build up. If you do it too much, of course, you're going to get the skin breaking here, and if that happens, you just put some ice, pack it in ice for a little while, and then you start practicing again the next day. The rule is not to do it so much that happens, because that will impede your training. Just do it enough so that, oh gee, I feel as if I've done some work today, and then sleep overnight and then come back and do it again. And slowly this area here will all build up, and you'll be able to get it so that you're not doing any damage to your fist at all. So that's a very basic snap punch from Tai Chi. I won't get into what the waist does, but, well, I will. I'll just tell you. The waist has 3 turns when you're doing a Tai Chi punch. It turns to the left, which brings the fist out. It's like a rubber band thing. And just as before the fist makes contact and did what I did there and snaps up at the end, then the waist turns back the other way. So that's left, right, and then it'll just center back again. So they're the 3. So it's called a farging shake. The waist goes very quickly. I'll just do it the once, just so you can see it, because it's another story. You'll see the waist going left, right, left very quickly. So that's your snap punch. Now we get into to one of my favorite punches, which is, it's called a corkscrew punch, or a screw punch. In Chinese, the translation is a screwing type punch, or something translated like that. Now you'll know I'm not just starting like this and bringing it through. I'm starting with my palm down, and as the fist comes through this time, it just doesn't go to vertical. It snaps right over, and now the force you'll see is going back in this way. So that's how it's going to make contact now, like so. Still with the same fist, still with these 3 knuckles. But it's going to make contact. So there it is. I'll just move out here a bit, Benny. So it's like that. That's how it's making contact now. So doing it like that, you can punch from very short distances here. Bah! Oh, sorry, Benny. You can even put your fingers on the mitt and punch from there and still get great power. That's that corkscrew. It's like a corkscrew going into the object, damaging it. It sends the energy into the object. That's the major punch that we use in Tai Chi. It can be used from there. It can be used from there. It can be used from here. At all these acupuncture points around the face. Mainly used around the hard bony areas, face, forehead, side of the face, etc. Oh, of course, in the neck. You can use anything in the neck because it's indefensible. Okay, the rule is, for the positioning of the hand, so that you have the best structure, so you're not going to damage yourself for the most power, is that as your hand moves down the body, the hand starts to rotate. So we start up here at the face, and the most natural position to hold your hand is either just like that, or just as a straight one, the 2 punches that I've just talked about. As you come down the body, however, look what happens. See how the hand's starting to turn over now? Now if I were to hold my hand like that, I'd have to hold it there. If I let it go and relax, see? So as it comes down the body, that's the most natural position for the hand to be in. So when we're talking about lower punches, to the abdomen or lower into the groin, not into the groin so much, but in this midsection area here, or even sort of down here into the chest here, the hand will be now it can rotate over. Because you're going downwards, you see, now it's going to make contact, still with these 3 knuckles. So there's no, as I move it, if I were to move it up, see what happens? Finger knuckles start to make contact first, but as I go down, big knuckles make contact because I'm aiming down further. It's just purely physics. And this time, you're not snapping this way, because that would be, you can't do it that way. Now you're snapping over. You see, that's the rule. So as you go down the body, you start with your palm up this time. So this might sound complicated, but it just becomes totally subconscious after a while. Through the training, it becomes subconscious. So you don't have to think to yourself, oh, where's my hand? Your hand might be here, and you might have to punch down here. So it'll just be, bah! It'll be a different sort of punch. Or your hand might be here, and then, bah! You could punch in there. Just hold it, Benny. You can punch like that, see? Now you'll find you're gaining a lot more power than trying to hold your hand like this. When, bah! So there's the shake of the body. Ah! From a very short distance away, you see? And that's how it's going in. And these are penetrating punches. They don't just do superficial damage. They go right inside of the body. As you move further down, say to the lower pelvic area and the groin, you notice the hand starts to want to turn over even more. So now around this area here, we're looking at this sort of a punch. And still, with these knuckles, making contact. So, still with the finger. You notice how the hand begins now even more turned over. So you might have done something like that, and maybe a blocking, pulling type motion, or a slap to the side of the face, and you can come straight back with, that's sort of, just hold it again, Benny. So you might have come to, bah! With that sort of move. From there you can come straight down to the lower pelvic area, straight into the CV4 point, which is the Dantian point, which is the death point. You can come straight down, bah! Sorry, Benny. So you'll notice that it gets much more powerful as you go, wah! As you're coming, wah! As you're coming down and down and down and down and down. So you get further down, maybe the person has fallen on the ground, there are moves in your Tai Chi form, which are like this, and you see that it goes right over, and that's the most natural position for the fist to be in at that time. Okay, we get to the palm. The hand, the fist, there are many other fists of course, but I'm just going over the basic structure of the fist for the time being. Back fist, never like this. You don't want to use a hammer, you want to use something with a bit of finesse. It's always the back pull that does the damage. So your hand comes out totally relaxed, and then the waist flicks back the other way violently and very explosively. As it does it, see, it leaves the fist behind. Oh, it's in the face, for instance. So it comes through. There's your shakes this time. So you turn to the right this time, then you'll be turning to the left, which is going to pull your wrist back, but because of the relative motion of the fist, and because you've got totally relaxed, it's like this, it's going to flick out with great power, and then it just centers again. So you've still got 3 shakes. So we're getting, for the back fist there, totally relaxed to finish, ready to go on with it. There's another back fist as well. That was a lateral back fist. That's pung from your Tai Chi form. Double pung is this one, which comes downwards. Actually, this fist went in. It's normally used there. It kicks around into the mind point, thus knockout. This neck one comes through this way and down here into CV23, down like so. So it's from the form, it's that one, you see. So again, it's totally relaxed, same shake of the body, right, left, right, and you get, that's your other back fist. Thank you, Eli. Okay, we're getting to the palm now. The fist is said to be the grenade because it takes up that much area. When you're using these spiral punches, of course, it goes into the body and does a lot of internal damage with very little external damage or that you can see. That's said to be a grenade. A palm is said to be the bomb because it takes up, look how much space it takes up. Now when you're hitting with a palm, we don't usually use the more common karate type palm like this, a heel palm, because you're only using less than the fist to go up like this. You're actually using, when we say the palm, we use the whole palm, the surfaces of your fingers and the whole palm. And look how much area it takes out. It's a huge amount of area. You're striking somewhere in here, you're striking to the CV14 point. It's a huge amount of damage using the palm. The palm is much more powerful, does more damage than the fist in most cases. That's why Bagua only uses mostly the palm. So when you're striking something, you go by the sound that the thing makes. If you're doing it incorrectly and you hear that? I don't know if you can hear it. That's a dull thud, you see? That's a heel palm, a dull thud. If you're doing this correctly and you're using what's called a frog palm, which is the whole palm making contact at the same time. It starts out a little concave and then this palm is even used in the sword form, the Tai Chi sword form. I'll just do it, just hold it there, Benny. See how much? You've got to hear the sound. I'll try and be quiet when I do it because you'll hear the sound. It's totally different than that dull thudding sound. It's a thwacking type of sound. It's a thwack. That's the whole palm making contact. Now you'll notice when the palm comes through, it's never stiff to start with. You're going to damage your arm doing that. It's loose. Just before contact, see, it releases the energy. Again with a left, right, left shake. See? I won't do it as hard this time. See? Left, right, left. The whole palm makes contact here. But because you're releasing energy like so, there's no damage going to happen to your arm because you're releasing it as you bring it through. If you hold it like this and then just hit it, all the power is going to go right into your wrist and damage your wrist. But because we're releasing it, the brain subconsciously knows exactly what you're doing, you see, because that's natural to do. That's a natural thing to do. Doing it unnaturally, the brain thinks, what am I doing? Bang, you've hit your hand, you break your wrist. That's why it's done that way. And perfect in alignment, the alignment of the body will come with the training. It's too much to teach alignment of the body here, but you wouldn't do it like this, for instance. Like that or something. You're going to damage it. Damage your shoulders, damage everything. So the whole thing is geared towards preservation of the whole body, self-defense, and maximum power from little distance. I can hit that from just here and still get the maximum amount of power, and sound is what you're looking for, you see. Just from a very short distance away. And that's where you have to fight, is from here when the person's in your face, you see. Back palms are used as well. However, you must never hit it flat on like this, because these little bones here will break. See, if you get a ruler, straight edge, and put it on there like so, you'll see that I'm only touching one bone. See, I go there or there, see? So when you're using a back palm, you must angle it so that, again, it's like the fist. You're using this flat area here, or you're using this flat area here. So when you make contact with it, see how the palm is faced? It's not held like this, it's held like this, so we can get that. Or it's held over this way. See, now this is lifted off a tiny bit, and you can get that. Just hold it around this. Come over this side, Benny. You can use that this way as well in the stork spreads wings from Tai Chi posture, which is an actual very powerful strike. See, but see how it's making contact on this area here, not on the middle of my arm. It's making contact there. So you come into the stalk spread wings, you see. Look. It first of all starts like that as a wind-up, and then there's a little flick on the end of it in the Tai Chi form. See, look. Just like that. But it actually looks like that. It's a very powerful punch. You can knock someone's head off doing that. Thank you, Benny. That's all I'll do today. So just today, I've just given you some of the basics. No good to go right through the whole lot, the elbow, the shoulder, etc., until you get the body mechanics for the punching right and for the palm right. Once you get those two very important areas correct, then that knowledge that you've gained will then go right through your whole body. Every doesn't matter even if you're doing kicks. Bah! Even if you're doing kicks from a very short distance away. The body mechanics is exactly the same for the fist and for the palm. So if you just concentrate on learning the fist and the palm, if for instance you do something, you think, oh geez, I hurt my wrist, start again. Don't do it for a while, but you're doing something wrong. You probably do it too. You should be able to hit that thing just softly, bah! And your partner should feel, oh gee, that was, I didn't expect that from that short distance away. You should be able to do that. In which case you're not going to damage your wrist right from the beginning by hitting too heavy objects too hard too soon. I just do those two things, get them right, and then you can carry on and learn the other things because you will have the internal knowledge of body mechanics to do it. Thank you.